A common theme with the games I enjoy is that they have systems or mechanics or things that allow me to spend almost endless amounts of time in those games without really completing them, or maybe even completing anything, just a number, arbitrary task, or challenge I wanted to complete that I went after and attempted, and usually by the end failed to accomplish. Or that I failed to accomplish, not in a way that like I didn't get anything out of it, but just that, maybe I set out to win the game without using a weapon. And I try for as long as I can, then give up, and then end up beating the game with weapons. But I had fun trying those sorts of things. But there are a lot of games I've played throughout my years that I really enjoyed that are maybe free if you own a PS5 for some of you out there. If you have the PS Plus Pass, whatever that is called, if I remember the name right. Or on Steam, these games are pretty much all on there as well. Some of them are exclusively on Steam. All of them can be purchased on Steam, but some of them are free right now on PS5, which is where I end up finding a lot of these games that are more bite sized. So what I have here are a list of games that I would say you can beat in a weekend for sure, in a day probably, and either way, you can have a lot of fun with them. Some of them are even on mobile, and that's how I played one of them, and it's one of my favorite games of all time, just in general. Thought it was a super great experience, and when I weigh in what I consider a best game of all time, I usually consider just, how it made me feel. Did I enjoy it? Did I have a great time? Were the mechanics tight? Did it do something new that surprised me? Like, we've all played deck builders, but the first time you play Inscription, there's a new feeling to it, right? So those sorts of things, they just come down to me. Are they one of my favorite games that I've played, especially from the medium I played it on? Like, not every game on the Nintendo 64 was Ocarina of Time good. Like that game was a shocker compared to the rest. So that's part of what makes it fun. So that first game, the one I'm talking about and kind of alluding to, is Sayonara Wild Hearts. I believe it's now on PS5 as well. It might be on PC, definitely on your iPhone. If you're looking to play a game that you want to try something out, something different, you got headphones, you want to chill, you got a plane to catch, something like that where you've got a little bit of time to sit down and get on your phone and play a game. It's been awesome. I played that game the one time through, had a great time, and since then I've gone back to like show people the game and make them play it in front of me because I think as we all grew up with the initial iPhones, or many of us grew up with the initial iPhones coming out and the introduction of like Temple Runner and Subway Surfers and thought that was really cool. I can game on my phone, not just Brick Breaker or Pong anymore. I can play something more substantial. So Sayonara Wild Hearts does that very well. Great music, fascinating gameplay, unique, mixes it up, and it's just a self-contained experience. You can have it done with, I know, within a few hours. It's very fun though. Go in, give it a shot. And if you're somebody like me who grew up playing Brick Breaker on your phone, I will recommend as well Ball X Pit. I'm not saying you can beat this game. It's kind of an extra honorable mention. Just a game you can download on your phone. I've enjoyed playing it. It's been a good one that I mix up between doing crossword puzzles or doing Ball X Pit when I need boredom to be relieved via my phone. Next up for Bite Size Game, taking about an hour, 2 hours, is more like a tour experience, is the beginner's guide. I won't mention much about this. I don't really want to show you anything or spoil it, but if you ever played Gmod growing up and you enjoyed like making games with your friends and Roblox, like where you would play a game but create custom game modes like hide and go seek in Call of Duty, and the idea of being a game maker ever applied to you, try out the beginner's guide. It's short, I want to say sweet, but I'll leave it to you to play it. I just remember having, I think I've been long enough now that I can replay it and have a genuine experience, but I remember having kind of a wow, this is a game question mark moment when playing that game. So I recommend it. I think it's a fascinating experience when you can play a game that starts to toe the line of being art. And speaking of, the next game, the studio tends to do that, in my opinion, which is Sword of the Sea and Abzu. These games are made by the same company, but I'll kind of I'm going to end up packaging them together as one recommendation. Go ahead, Sword of the Sea. If you liked playing Tony Hawk, any skating game ever growing up, then you'll enjoy this experience. It's that on top of beautiful visuals. So the recommendation I have though is if you have a controller with vibration settings, play on that. It gives a full experience, I think, when you do that. And it's one of those things where a lot of games I recommend, mouse and keyboard to my friends if they have a computer to play it on that because it's just going to work out better. I hate when they just make the game ported and they just give you a cursor you control with a joystick. It's so suboptimal. I hate it. But there's not often a game that I think you need to play on controller because they spent the time to make not just vibrations for getting hit, the vibration for riding on sand versus riding on the chain, riding on a rail, grinding, these sorts of things. They all have their own unique haptic feel. And I think that's fascinating. Like just going through shingles on roofs, you can feel almost every one as you go down it, which I think is a one of those things that polishes the experience. You could easily make a game doing the same thing you do in Sword of the Sea and make it boring. Like just do it mechanical, but the feeling, the weight of the character, the visuals you're getting to see are all very good. And I think I got through about half the game in one day, and I'm planning on finishing the other half actually here soon. And Abzu is their other game. I did finish that in one sitting. Beautiful, just visual moments, and I think that's a fun part of playing games is getting to experience the art side of it. Next up, out of nowhere, is Everybody Wham Wham. When you're getting closer to Christmas and you're looking for a game to play to celebrate the season, look up Everybody Wham Wham. It's a silly game that has you taking the place of a guy in a snowman building conversation. And it wasn't until halfway through I realized I could sabotage my opponents, and that's how I started winning even faster. So it's a fun game. It's silly, and it's just a good one to play if you want something novel to try out. Like you're just in the spirit and you want to do something, have some hot chocolate, play Everybody Wham Wham. I think you'll have a great time. The next one I'm going to recommend, don't look up anything about it. Just go play it. Very fun. If you do play this game because of this video, please come back and tell me something to let me know you beat the game. You'll know what I mean when you get there. It's called The Looker. It's like The Witness. It's somebody who liked The Witness, these puzzle style, Myst style games, and wanted to make their own puzzle game with a simple but rewarding and funny mechanic they take to a bunch of different extremes. And I think it's very enjoyable. Give it a shot. The only thing I'll say is I personally find the last puzzle to be a pain in the butt. You can look up the answer to the last puzzle, and I will give you a warning. The last puzzle, if you want to solve it yourself, go for it, but it's the one with the purple background. Every other puzzle will be different colors and different things going on, but you'll kind of know. It's a purple background, big circle, lots of symbols. Frustrating for me. I did not want to go back and figure it out. I think it's a silly puzzle, but it's a good one. It's not like it's not solvable. It's just the time investment for that game. I wasn't willing to go do it because I had to retrek a maze, and I wasn't going to do that. So try The Looker. Great game. Very funny. If you have friends who've never tried it and you've tried it, it's really funny to tell them to try it and have them play it while you're watching because you know where it's going, and it's very fun when you get there. So try out The Looker. Next is Starfetchers. I think this is PC exclusive. Starfetchers, I don't really know much. I've kind of neglected looking up anything about it, wanting to stay ignorant because the creator, I don't know what they're on or what this world is supposed to really be about, but I find it fascinating. They've clearly got this brainchild of something they're enjoying making, and it's a very weird, but the music of the game, the style, you can have it done very, very fast. You can beat this game. So it's, if you're tight on funds and you don't want to purchase it, I get it. It's not going to take you hours to beat. It may take hours, just 2, and you'll be done. But it's such a odd and interesting experience that I recommend it because they also have an expansion now called Pork Belly. I won't explain further. I just find the music in the game is awesome. The art style's so dramatic and personal. I think that it's a fascinating game and you should give it a shot. I don't want to spoil these games since they're bite sized. If I tell you too much, you've practically played the game. Give Starfetchers a try. It's weird. It fits in that kind of realm of Undertale and those more new age games I would describe them as, where there's a writing style that's clearly more my generation, I want to say, and maybe above a little bit. I would guess the person who makes the game is around 30 or below. This one's kind of unexpected for me because I don't really like horror games, but I saw this and I found a lot of these games because I have a friend of mine, and often through COVID, she would watch me play games because we would just have nothing to do. So I call these AI games. They were games that I would buy with the idea that someone could watch you play and it'd be more interesting because the game is kind of odd and out there. And Umigari, I will put the name down on the bottom in text so you can see it, but it is a fishing horror game. Really weird, really stupid. I just had a great time playing it, and I beat it in one afternoon, maybe 2, because I was just like down bad to see where it went because it was so unexpected. It's not a game I'd normally play, and I thought it was just a lot of fun to get into. And just an honorable mention, Dredge, then, is another game that's very bite-sized. You can get in and out of it, and I would say Dredge is the actual complete experience of this type of game, and Umigari is just a funny one, and it is a little spooky at times, but never so bad that I think if you're really afraid of games and like horror games are not your style at all, maybe it's not for you. I just didn't find these scary parts to be as scary because they were so silly, but they were definitely meant to be a little tense. If you've not played it back in the day, there's a game called Portal and Portal 2. I think everyone knows of them, and you've probably been recommended them once or twice or a million times, depending on where you're looking at new recommendations for games. But Portal shouldn't take you long to beat. I remember Portal 2, I bought it the night I got it. I was so excited. I took it home and beat it that night. It wasn't very long. I think maybe, younger kid time. I had infinite time to play the game. I think it took like 6 hours or so, and I returned it the next day. It was a awesome, awesome game. Love Portal. Just a simple concept, done well, fun to play. The story's nothing to write home about, but if you're like a big lore nerd, you can get into Black Mesa and how those worlds intertwine if you're a Half-Life fan. But otherwise, Portal and Portal 2, fun little bite-sized games. And lastly is the Forgotten City. This actually started as a mod, I believe, for Skyrim, a game I enjoy modding a lot, and I tried that game, started it, and did not get what was going on, so I gave up on it, and I was like, I'm not doing this. But going back, it has a fresh coat of paint in its own game engine, and I found it to be fascinating. I'm pretty sure Forgotten City, the mod, probably still exists. I'm able to play it for free inside of Skyrim, but it is a contained experience. I think we all enjoy some level of those looping games like Death Loop, Time Loops, and this has a loop mechanic that I find very interesting. And the end of the story and all that is kind of out there, but a fun little game with some twists and turns that I enjoyed playing and had it done not too long a time. So those are my suggestions for some games you can go out, play today, finish today, and let me know about in the comments down below. I would love to hear from any of you if you beat any of these games due to this video and you want to come back here and tell me what you beat. I'll try to respond in the comments, at least over the next couple weeks. I'll keep an eye on it probably, but would love to hear from you all. Peace. Check them out.